Oh, in Soccer We Trusters, it's great to see you on the YouTubes. The U.S. scored a lot of goals against Grenada, and Folarin Balogun is getting jerseys from all types of American sports teams. So we have a lot to talk about. Hit like and subscribe, and let's get after it. Yes! What is up, everybody, and welcome to Julian Green's favorite podcast in Soccer We Trust. I'm Cream Cheese Trash Can Conrad, also known as Jim. I'm here with Hollywood Harry, also known as Heath Pearce, and we don't know where Charlie is. He's supposed to be here, but he's not, to the surprise of no one that he's not here. The guy's busy, man, and he's got things to do and deals to close and all that type of stuff. So I don't know. I think he's into venture capitalism now, but it doesn't matter. We'll get into Charlie at some point. He's going to hop in and do what he does and bring all the good stuff. But Heath, big show, because the U.S. scored 7 goals outside of the U.S. for the first time in U.S. men's national team history. So that congratulations. They've never won a game 7-1 before. Tick that box as well. And, you know, I have it our little title here for the people that can't see it, that me, Heath, and Charlie are greater than the Grenada men's national team. Not the best performance from those guys, but you can only play the teams that are in front of you. So 7-1 win for the U.S. Now they only need to draw against El Salvador on Monday to win the group and book their ticket for the CONCACAF Nations League semifinals. Do you want to start? Where do you want to start, Heath? I don't know where you want to start with
I want to start with the fact that I think that we could have gone longer than 4 minutes. Just me, you, and Charlie bunkered in 3 people against their 11.
I think we could have done
4 minutes. You know, they almost hit that 5th minute mark, and I think we could have at least gotten to that before giving up.
I think we could have. But
we could have. I don't want to you know.
I'm just kidding.
It's just joking. Don't want to disrespect the opponent.
No.
But I think this was one where I'd like to start was just in the chip on the shoulder mentality of this team, right? And the reason I say that is because there was a moment very early on in the first half where Christian Pulisic dribbled too much, and I was like, oh no, man, it's going to be one of these, like, everybody thinks they're better than they are because they realize they beat the first guy on the dribble, and now everyone's dribbler, everyone's going to dribble all the time, and they're not going to do the simple thing.
It's going to be like an and one mixtape.
Yeah. Like he had an opportunity to make the easy pass, and he tried to keep dribbling, and I was like, gosh, no, don't do this to me. And they didn't do it again for most of the game. You know, there's a few moments that they took their chances, maybe more than they should have. But all in all, you know, it was a dribble that led to a pass that led to another pass. It was clinical in front of goal. It was the mentality of
dynamic, right?
You know,
dynamic
going after them. Yeah. And that just movement in and around the box, I thought was really good. Taking chances, numbers in the box, all those things that you expect against a team like Grenada, but to actually execute that in a way that was professional, there was just, again, that tipping point where I was worried, and they went right past that within a few moments, and just overall, again, Jimmy, I think my prediction was 2-0. Yours was 4 or something like that.
I said 3,
and I was just
4,
because away from home, and you had said they need to score early, and I thought that was a really good point, if I remember correctly. But for me,
it takes a lot of pressure.
You know, exactly, and that takes a lot of that pressure off, but. All in all, just there were some things that I think I would love to see more when you have this type of environment, this type of game, this type of control. But overall, just at least at a minimum with a new group that hasn't played together a whole bunch, just very, very professional and confident. What about you?
Yeah, confidence is a good word. I thought they were dynamic. And before we bring in Charlie Chuckwagon Davies, I want to let everybody know that we're doing a recap of the U.S.'s 7-1 win against Grenada. We're going to talk about the latest smoke around Folarin Balogun and him getting Yankees jerseys and Orlando Magic jerseys, and just announce him already, or just announce that you're going to play for us, big guy. And then if you're watching on YouTube, of course, I have to say hit like and subscribe. If you're listening on any podcast platform of your choice, download, follow, leave a 5-star review, and then go tell some people about how great our podcast is. That would be awesome. We're trying to win a trophy as well. We're a finalist in the soccer category for the Sports Podcast Awards, and we need your help. So please take a minute out of your day to vote. The link is in the description. And now let's give it up for Charlie Davies. There he is.
Hold on.
The rich mahogany.
Before we ask Charlie about the game. Yeah.
What?
Are we not going to talk about how Charlie definitely caught some rays when he was on vacation? Like he caught some sun. My guy's got a glow to him that I haven't seen in a while.
Maybe he's got makeup on from his morning footy rehearsal.
What tanning salon he goes to, or you know what that resort was, or where his house is in the Dominican, because he's looking good.
Thank you. You're glowing. You're glowing right now, Chuck.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, my skin needs the sun, and I got absolutely blasted with rays in the Dominican Republic. So I'm feeling good. I am glowing.
Okay, so give us your thoughts on the U.S. absolutely demolishing Grenada 7-1 away from home. It's not easy. The field looked terrible, and I think scoring an early goal obviously took some pressure off. But it was one-way traffic throughout, except for that goal. I have some thoughts about us giving up a goal to that Grenada team. But let's start with your thoughts overall, Chuck.
Yeah, would your thought happen to be looked eerily similar to a goal we gave up against the Netherlands, possibly? But what I will say is
it was a nice buildup. It was a nice buildup. That was like good
yes.
third run, cut back.
It was
Literally, Charlie. I'm glad you brought that up. It is exactly the same goal. The old cut back.
Yes. The old cutback, top of the box. I'm alone.
Yeah.
Absolutely hammered it though, past Turner.
Oh, he did.
It was a good hit, in fairness.
But in terms of this game, we were obviously the superior side, not even close, and that's one part of it, right? But it's taking care of business. And what I did like is the runs from Ricardo Pepi and his play at the 9. But more importantly, Christian Pulisic took over. He showed in this match that I'm the best player on the pitch. And I'm going to work in a variety of different ways within the game, because it wasn't just staying by the touchline. And I like that he was keeping width for the team without Anthony Robinson bombing up and down the field. You felt like in the final third, it was Christian Pulisic's area. So don't even think about coming up here, Joe Scally. You that's your line. You got past the half, get it off your feet. And we saw him, take players on the dribble, in some cases too much, but there were
he had 6 assists this game. He had a ton of assists.
But you also love from Christian Pulisic when he comes inside and plays quick. He's playing 1 or 2 touch. So it was the unpredictability that makes him so dynamic and dangerous throughout the game. So I was pleased with the result.
Okay.
Well, Chuck,
before you hop in,
Jimmy, real quick, just give him the update on kind of we had sort of discussed this in similar fashion, that he had over dribbled in the first few minutes, and I was like, oh no, it's going to be one of these clown shows where we all think we're better than everyone. Everybody goes on like solo missions, and then didn't do it again. And they actually, like you said, it was like a dribbling and a penetration with a purpose, you know.
Yeah, what I loved, before we get into the opponent, because I think that has to be taken into consideration as to the type of success we were having in the attacking third. But what I loved, and Ricardo Pepi said it before the game, about how Anthony Hudson's just going to let them play a little bit more free in the attacking third. And it showed. You had Brendan Aronson was on one side.
I wonder who he's comparing that to, Ricardo Pepi, by the way.
Yeah,
who is he comparing that to when he says something like that?
I'm just going to throw it out. Maybe Greg Berhalter. I don't know. That's
more free than the alternative, you know?
Yeah, exactly right. So Brendan Aaronson's on the sideline one time. Then he's central. Then when he picks up his goal, he's in the left channel of the central channels to pick up a kind of a 1-2 or a potential 1-2 with Christian Pulisic, but he gets it and turns and slots it, or he actually hits a pretty good shot between the defender's legs. But I like that there was that. And it's really trusting the players to identify where the space is and to make sure that we're balanced based on where somebody might be occupying. And I thought it worked to great effect. We were overly dominant on that left side. The Scally, Pulisic running at their right side. The fact that they were holding a higher line, so there was space in behind, was quite surprising. But overall, I like the interchange. And I wonder if we're going to see something similar against El Salvador and who starts that game. I do want to get into the starting lineup with you guys, but I wanted to get your thoughts first on just kind of how fluid our front 4 or front 5 looked. And obviously Weston McKennie would pop into those spots, and he scored 2 goals tonight, and Luca De La Torre would join in or make those deep line playmaker passes when he could. I know the surface wasn't great, so I don't think he could really showcase all the things that he's good at, but I don't think he's a 6 either. And I think maybe that cost us on the goal where we didn't have a normal 6 sitting in that spot. But to your point, it looked very Dutch-like. And we had a 6 in that game and gave up the same type of goal. So maybe
I'm curious, Heath and Jimmy, because there's a comment in the YouTube section here. Todd Panella, thoughts on Gio? What were your thoughts on Gio? Because me watching the game, it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough of a performance from him, and I get it that you're just trying to break out of the mold in terms of what has happened and transpired over the past couple of months. But it wasn't a clean
from him, though.
It wasn't a clean performance. What do you mean? What do I expect? I expect some finishing. I expect some.
Okay, but I'm just saying, I'm not trying to put you on the defense. I'm just asking so I have like a frame of reference as to what you want from Gio Reyna in this
Charlie,
game.
drop the gloves, Charlie. He's not swinging. Drop the gloves, man. Drop the gloves.
Straight up.
I'm on Team Chuck here. I just want to know, and I guess for the listeners and viewers, like, what's your frame of reference, knowing what Gio's gone through over the last couple months too?
You asking for it, you gonna get it. No,
keep those gloves up, Charlie. He's hitting.
In a match like this, I would have wanted to see a little bit more hunger from Gio, and I guess the finished product from Gio Reyna. So yes, the shots and goals, but also the facilitator, making the assist, being a little bit more of a handful in the final third. I think he took a few too many touches. It wasn't as smooth as I would have liked from Gio Reyna in this match. But again, I think you got to build up his confidence within the team. It's not so much his confidence in his abilities, but it's the confidence within the group about this is what I'm going to do. Because what we saw in this first half especially was Christian Pulisic said, I'm the captain. This is my team. I'm a step above everyone. And let me control the tempo. Let me control the attacking play. And it felt like everyone deferred to him, and he was making typically the right decisions. And his set piece delivery was on point as well.
What I would say, Jimmy, for me is that I agree with Charlie in those sentiments, in that we had a star on the field tonight, right? And that was Christian Pulisic. And if you looked at the way Ricardo Pepi, more often than not, check back, get the ball, lay it off, and move on, right? Set up the next play that goes to the next side. And I thought that the thing that I've always liked about Ricardo Pepi's game, and again, granted, this is like taking into account who we're playing against, but is that more often than not, there's simplicity. He's not trying to turn and run at players. He's not trying to do extra things. And I feel like there's times when Gio can simplify his game and become blend into what the game is giving them, and not have to say, okay, if Pulisic's doing it on this side, I'm going to do it on my side, right? I'm going to take I'm going to take the extra touches. I'm going to combine. I'm going to do those things. Not to say he shouldn't do that, because he should at times, but other times when he's best is when, again, like you said, with Pulisic coming inside, that combination play where the game is just really simple and quick because he's got an incredible brain. But when he tries to take a little bit too much on, and again, I'm saying this through the lens of what I would love to see more, because I would have loved to see more actual impact. But his confidence looked pretty good. His willingness to go forward. Actually, the thing that I was judging a lot of the time is what's his body language when things don't go right, right? He had that foul in the box early on, and normally
he waited a little bit.
You've seen Gio.
He waited a little bit.
He did wait a little bit, but normally he would throw his arms up. You would see something change in him, and you could see almost like in his eyes that he was present, in that this was a big moment that people were watching to like know that, like, how is he going to react to this type of moment? And I thought that all in all, his attitude was good.
Before Jimmy, you go, another comment that I want to address from our listener, Spicy Pineapple, who's always making an appearance. So appreciate you. Same with Kai718. She says, he or she says, I think it was a safe game for Gio. His attitude wasn't bad. Now, is that the expectations we're setting for Gio Reyna? Like, I don't want to hear it was a safe game, I don't want to hear
this was a big burden on him, though, to get past.
But I'm saying,
I think that there was a lot.
Tell me if you guys were in your.
Official.
I'm telling you, if I was in those shoes, I'm playing like my head's on fire, right? I'm showing this crazy drive and commitment, and I know it's difficult at times. You're playing in Grenada,
but Charlie, don't you think that crazy drive commitment could have led to a bad game, though? We all know when you take a little bit on too much with a little bit too much pressure, that generally at that age leads to turnovers, bad decisions. Like, your idea of I'm going to do more leads to, like, I'm going to take over this game. Give me the ball. I'm going to be the star. And sometimes at that age, I think that leads to more bad than good.
Balance.
I'm jumping in. I get you. I came into this game with zero expectations of Gio Reyna. I was surprised that he started, pleasantly surprised that he started. And I had no expectations because I didn't know what version of him we were going to get. And I feel like there's a lot that he's carrying. Come
on, Jimmy. No expectations.
No expectations. In this particular game, I had zero expectations for Gio Reyna because I don't know if it felt unfair. I did, though, to your point, Charlie. I was watching body language and that commitment of like, hey, a ball goes out of bounds, like you're clapping somebody to
yeah,
little things like that. Like you're
that's
you're
the Jimmy
almost
special.
that's
right
that's more
hey,
me. But you're like leaning into
right here.
Yeah, I'm all heart, baby. I didn't have talent.
Finger guns. Finger guns.
I'm not afraid of the finger guns, but
Hey,
I think we wanted to see that where it was clearly like Gio's making this about the team and not about him, and so we wanted to see some of that. I don't know if we got that, but I don't think we got any to what you said, Heath, of him kind of whining or having some type of reaction that draws more attention to how he's whining. So. Yeah. I think there was some.
Where was he in all the
there.
celebrations? Where was he all the goal celebrations?
That too.
Did he jump? Did he jump over the top? Was he flipping? You know, was he doing
these are important things.
Was he doing the Stu Holden, Jaden Merritt flip over the top?
I'll tell you right now, there was nothing over the top. We can all agree on that. You weren't seeing anything over the top. But on one hand, I see progress in terms of attitude and mentality. Right, progress.
Right.
Because you really couldn't have gone any lower than where you were, right? So it's progress there. On the other hand, I'm thinking of Gio Reyna, the super talent and all the potential that he has. Yeah. And I want to put those expectations back on him so he's going in that direction. Because we've been asking forever to see Gio Reyna in the 10 position, the attacking midfielder, get on the ball, do his thing. And everyone's talking about, hey, we don't have these shackles on. We're free. Well, that sets up perfectly for a Gio Reyna. This is a player who has the creativity, who has the ability also to unlock low block defense, and someone who can, I think, create out of nothing. From that standpoint, I didn't see enough of that.
It wasn't a starter performance for me. It wasn't a starter performance for me. That says next game you're the starter. That to me, I think is true.
Fair.
Because when you look at the players that we have and you look at the pipeline of players, there's going to be a lot of competition at the 10 spot or the right midfield spot over the next 3 years. You know, that's including players like
Zendejas come on, right? Yeah. Zendejas comes on, Alejandro Zendejas.
Hungry
comes on, has a great little turn and hits a good shot. In his limited time, scores his first ever goal for the U.S. after making his official switch to us from Mexico. So congratulations to him. But yeah, I mean, that's just speaks to the competition that Gio has, because they're not like for like players. They play in the same spot though, and they provide different things, which is what I think we're going to run into. And part of our amazing evolution as a country and as a national team is that we're going to have so much talent and depth. It's not necessarily if you're the most talented player. I mean, that's going to help, of course, get you minutes. But do you fit in with the rest? I mean, as we start to build that puzzle, I think that becomes pretty vital in some capacity.
The last thing I would say, though, is that this kid is carrying the burden of the biggest controversy that's happened in the last 20 years in U.S. soccer. And I don't think any of us know what that's, we've all gone through our own adversities and crazy things. But he is carrying, like, this is not like adversity. This is infamy. Right, of what he's going through. This is like surrounded. I know. Okay, Charlie. No one. I get it. Right. Like, actually, I don't get it because you've been through more than anybody in that context. But like, he's been publicly battered through him and his family, with and without through his doing, and also through his family's doing, and through all these other things that I don't know. I'm like better than I had hoped, I guess. Jimmy had no expectations.
I just tried not to come in with any, because this one felt like I got to give him a little bit of a pass here, because there's so much emotional stuff, not only with what's happening with his family, which must be next level, but also like trying to win the respect back within the group. And putting some water on some of the flames that are out there.
So for where things are at, and maybe we need to go to break before we do it, Jimmy, but like, I guess of all the things that we could criticize, if you could pick one person or one thing or one area, where would we want to go? Because I've got some thoughts on the defense that I would have loved to have seen more than what I saw in a game like this that was dominant.
Totally.
But everything.
Let's go to a break. Let's go to a break, and then we can dive into this side of it. And I still want to talk about the starting lineup overall and how that ties into the El Salvador game. If Anthony Hudson had a plan about which lineup he wants to start in both games, walking in to this one. And we're going to do that right after the first break of the show, so don't go anywhere.
Absolutely magisterial here. Colpisce ancora
baby. Guess what? In Soccer We Trust is more than a YouTube-first podcast. It's a community, and now you can rep that community with official In Soccer We Trust gear in Soccer We Trusters that can only be found on the Paramount shop. Discover t-shirts, mugs, sweatpants, laser-engraved pint glasses, hats, water bottles, and potentially a signed panel of mahogany from our very own Charlie Davies. And you get to rep this with your friends and family, and it's pretty awesome. So head over to In Soccer We Trust at Paramount Shop. Get 20% off your order when you use this podcast exclusive code Soccer20 during checkout. That's Soccer20, and it's only available for our listeners. So head over to ParamountShop.com/collection/in-soccer-we-trust and shop now. What's up, everybody? I'm Jimmy Conrad alongside Charlie Davies and Heath Pearce, and we are breaking down the 7-1 beatdown of Grenada, the U.S. men's national team, scoring 7 goals. I repeat, 7 goals away from the United States, or not in the United States, for the first time in their history. And this is actually the first time the U.S. has ever won a game 7-1 in their history as well. Pretty crazy stats we got thrown at you. But let's go back to Heath Pearce's question. Hollywood, why don't you restate that question? You want to talk a little bit about the defense in this game? We gave up a goal. We shouldn't give up a goal. We could do it through the lens
of however you want to format a comment on the starting lineup. I don't want us to get, because if we go through every player, we're going to get stuck.
No. I don't want to do that per se.
But if everybody gets one comment about a player, you could choose good or bad.
Sure.
But that could
okay.
work.
So let's just go back 4, because Matt Turner was what we expected.
Yeah.
But Joe Scally playing left back, Austin Trusty playing with his old school teammate from Philadelphia Union, Mark McKenzie, are the 2 center backs, and then Brian Reynolds at the right back position.
Austin Trusty had a very promising performance for me. Yep. And of course, you take it with a grain of salt in a way, because this is not Spain
they weren't challenged.
Or Brazil, right? But from I think his 50-50 challenges, his positioning, the way he carried himself, like he had been there for a while. I really liked what I saw from Austin Trusty as a whole. Now, Mark McKenzie, on the other hand, still, it boggles my mind how he's still missing that confidence part. He didn't look sure of himself. I'll go back to, it was the 65th minute. And it was
Chuck's over here taking notes
when he gave up the corner kick. When he gave up that corner kick,
a very relaxed situation for a center back. You're getting pressed from a striker, but you have time. And instead of just kicking it out or trying to hoof it down the line, just simple basics 101 for a center back, he tries to take a touch and kicks it out for a corner kick. Very unnecessary. He's too old to be making that type of mistake. And I'm going to put that type of expectation on Mark McKenzie, because one, he was a young teammate of mine at the Union. I love this kid, great personality, and I expect better from him, and he expects better of himself. So I'm gonna put those type of expectations on him, because he should be commanding that back line. He should be making the smart decision, and that's a very small play out of the 90 minutes from him, but it's just something that you can't make those little mistakes at the highest level.
Okay, so Miles Robinson, there's 24 players on the team. You can only name 23 for the roster. He was a healthy scratch in this one, which makes me think he might start against El Salvador. But this would be the first time the U.S. men's national team will play a competitive match without using a single MLS player since the league began in 1996. So that's another fun fact for you. However, a lot of these players did come through MLS academies. So I guess
half of them came through the Philadelphia Union Academy.
Exactly right. But I wanted to throw that out there. I thought that was a pretty interesting stat. But it's interesting that Miles is out. Tim Ream didn't play. Serginho Dest didn't play. Anthony Robinson didn't play. Didn't get in. Didn't come on as a sub. And that makes me think that that's going to be the back 4 moving forward. We'll get into El Salvador.
I like Reynolds.
But you liked Reynolds.
I like Reynolds. I just think he felt like a happy medium between a defense first fullback and Serginho Dest. That's like, I'm going to attack, but with that comes a clear sacrificing of the other details of the game. And I like his comfort on the ball. I like his willingness to go forward, but I also like the energy he shows, that I think is a willingness to play defends too. That to me is like, again, it's raw, super, super early. But when I think about Serginho Dest and the other options, you know, when I think, okay, Joe Scally, I think he fits somewhere in between, like an attacking option that can defend, like somewhere leaning more towards an attacking threat than somebody that sits back. That was my takeaway from him on the night. Again, a game where you always have the ball and you're always in high positions is going to be completely different than a game where you're under pressure all the time.
Yeah, I wasn't sold on him, and I agree with you in terms of the style that you're going to get from him, but in terms
you didn't like him, Charlie. I just didn't know you. I didn't know you hated him, but like I knew you didn't like Brian.
No,
Stones, but I know you hated
man.
him.
I just don't think. I don't think the quality was there throughout the 90 minutes. I mean, of course, it's his first game in a long time at this level, but he was okay. He was okay. He was out of position on the goal. So there were, tactical, I guess, ways throughout the match that I felt, man, not quite there. But it's kind of like Gio Reyna, how you were saying, Jimmy. It's my expectations. I didn't have much for Reynolds coming into this camp, and so you give him a pass because this is an okay performance, but not one that I'm like, so you should watch out.
I just like him wanting. I just like that he wants the ball at his feet and he wants to run with the ball. And that I think is going to be different than a Joe Scally type of player, who I think is going to be a little bit more balanced and neutral. Whether he was sharp with it or not, I agree with you. But I do like that willingness to go forward. But yeah,
Courtney Joyner in the YouTube. There's no hot takes here. This is just talk. This is just conversation.
We're just conversation, baby. It's a
three
podcast.
good old pros.
Is this live?
This is no hot takes.
So Joe Scally made his second ever start for the U.S., and both times he started, he played left back, which I think is funny. The other time was against Uruguay, and this one against Grenada. I mean, ultimately, thought he did a good job of just feeding the ball to Christian, because Christian's like, I'm the bear, feed the bear. The bear's hungry. I'm going to go do something with it. But interesting. So, yeah, I'm with you guys overall on the back four. It's so hard to evaluate, to be honest. I mean, Grenada didn't really push us that much.
Can I say one last thing?
Matt Turner made a good save. Yeah, go ahead.
It was mostly that I would have loved when we have the ball this much that the center backs take more chances on the ball, right? Try a long switch once in a while. Don't just allow a center midfielder.
But what if there's no space to hit that?
I get that, but it's not so much. It's not so much about the long switch. If the game's in front of you, drive the ball forward with the ball, right? Far often they just stopped, lay the ball off to the midfielder, and
because that's what the defender's job is. I don't want to see defenders on the ball. Get it off your feet and stay back.
I would like to see.
All right. There's a lot of striker bias. There's a lot of striker bias here.
Yeah, like a striker.
Oh, stop
a lot of that.
I don't want to see you dilly-dallying on the ball.
Yeah, against Grenada. Yeah,
you think they told that to Franz Beckenbauer?
Yeah,
Pete, just cross it to your boy. Let me do the work.
Charlie,
you just cross
against Grenada. Everybody wants to come back and get the ball at their feet. Against the big games, you got to have a defender that's willing to break that first line of pressure on the dribble to initiate the angle, like the changing of angles and set up that attack. That's what I like doing when I started playing center back, and I would just love to see a little bit more of that. Having said that, like every time they touched the ball, someone came and got it off their feet. So
okay. So let's use. No. Okay, so we've talked about the forwards and the attacking players.
I hate this show.
And the back four. Listen, we know that you don't. Okay, it's a thin line between love and hate. Well, let's talk about the pivot of Luca De La Torre and Weston McKennie. And I want to use this as a segue into El Salvador because we don't have a 6. I mean, we got Cardoso. I feel like he still is more of an 8 than a 6. But okay, we tried something, and I thought that we got exposed on the goal in particular where we missed somebody in that space that maybe a proper 6 could have identified that problem and maybe snuffed out that play. I don't know what it's going to look like against El Salvador. I don't even know if it's going to matter because El Salvador is just probably a little bit more organized and more maybe consistently organized than Grenada was. And the gaps aren't going to be the same that we got tonight for sure. What do you guys think about De La Torre and McKennie? Do you think that's going to be what we see against El Salvador and
I thought De La Torre was indifferent personally. That's the one thing that I would say in that game. Not bad, but like
he played backwards more than I wanted him to. Like
he's a little too rhythmic in a game where there's space to go forward.
Yeah, but that's Luca De La Torre. That's his game.
Okay, that's fine.
It's side to side, and he looks to keep possession or shuttle the ball forward a little bit, shuttle it back, but. You're not looking for a player who's going to create things and create space and long switches. That's
but we
just
know,
not his
but we know
game.
we've seen it a little bit with Celta in the last couple of months.
A little,
Okay,
but that's just not his game. But Weston McKennie, I'm all about it. We've
But
seen
who
him now
sits
with
then?
Leeds. He can sit back in that
can.
6 without Tyler Adams. He likes to go a little bit more forward, and he's just so good.
Maybe Eunice comes in. He did come on
and dangerous on set pieces.
Eunice will
We've
start.
seen that. I mean, he's just a beast on set pieces when he gets forward in the box. He really knows how to contribute on set pieces. When he's on, you could tell he's having fun. That's when Weston's at his best, when he's having fun, not so much just defending, not just out of character and running all over the place. But you could tell when he has a little bit more freedom in the attacking half that he looks pretty good. So I was happy with Weston's performance. But I feel the same way as you, Heath.
What do you guys think about when all things considered, Tyler Adams comes back? Are you wanting a Gio Reyna or a proper kind of attacking player at that 10? And we got to lose.
I think it depends
Musa,
on the
maybe?
opponent.
Or
Depends
I
on the
mean,
opponent.
because we've been MMA was like the first 3 we put down for a long time on that lineup chart, and I get it, but at the same time, Weston McKennie as a true 8, he covers a lot of ground, does a lot of those roles that maybe you do need another attacking player to connect those lines.
I will say this though, if you have Weston, Tyler Adams, and Yunus Musa in midfield as your trio, that will work if you have a player like Folarin Balogun up top.
Oh, okay. He wants to get into the Balogun talk.
I'm just saying.
Listen,
I'm just saying. If you
Kick
have
this guy off the show. Kick this guy off the show.
I will. We will talk about Balogun in a second. I want to stay focused though, Chuck, and get in on El Salvador.
Okay.
All we need is a draw on our game on Monday in Orlando to win our group and to book our ticket for the Nations League semifinals. What's interesting is that Mexico plays at home to Jamaica. If they draw that game, Mexico would actually go in as a seed that would play us in the semifinals and not the final itself. So that's really interesting. I think they'll do the business, but for whatever reason, Jamaica seems to play Mexico pretty close, especially in the last couple of years. So in multiple competitions. So it'd be interesting to see how that one plays out. I think Mexico will go on to do it, but it could be a little nervy there for a bit. Obviously, we want to see U.S.-Mexico in the final, but U.S.-Mexico at any point is always a good game. Now, with regard to El Salvador, knowing we just need a draw, sometimes that can work against you because you maybe not playing as quick as you need to because there's not that urgency. But I get the sense because we're going to have what I think will be a brand new team. Well, maybe not every single position, but a lot of changes. I think that urgency will be there. And obviously playing in front of our home fans for the first time, well, in a open FIFA window, not in the January camp, will be pretty cool. So I guess I wanted to know what you guys' ideal starting 11s are for the El Salvador game, and how do you think we'll approach it? Do you think we're going to see something similar with that fluidity up top? It looks like that's where Anthony Hudson wants to go to maybe differentiate himself from the previous coach, as it were. Heath, you can go first.
Let's
go goalkeeper. You want Matt Turner or Zach Steffen in this one?
No, I'm going Matt Turner. I think
he
we're
made a
go
very good
closer
save early on that.
I think we're going to go closer to our best 11 that we've known it to be. Maybe not that we agree it to be, but I think that you're going to see a Tim Ream come in because there is some implications to this game, and you kind of want to, I didn't get anywhere close to the right lineup for this game because I thought you just go with it. You go with your best because you need to secure it. And I remember how difficult some of those games would be. They scored early. The game was a really easy one, but. So I'm actually happy they used that game to get some players minutes. But for this one, I think you're going a little bit closer to your.
So you'd call Zach Steffen in and Horvath in, and you wouldn't give them any minutes at all. I mean, I guess Horvath.
These are. I mean, I'm just throwing that out there. Like, in a game like this, you got Matt Turner minutes in this one. Why wouldn't you have just gone with somebody else in this one? Why would you?
No, that's fair.
Why would you switch
No. I get it. I get it.
So I'm going with him, and I'm going with him in goal. Yeah.
Okay, so then Chuck, I'll come to you on the back four. For me, I'll go first. I think it's going to be Robinson, Jedi Robinson, Ream. I wonder if Miles is going to get in or start. I'll just say him just because he wasn't involved and he's a healthy scratch. And then I got Dest on the right side. Do you think that it's going to be a brand new back four? Or do you think we're going to see like a Trusty and Ream or McKenzie and Ream instead?
No, Trusty's a left center back if he's playing, and we know Tim Ream. He's the boss back there. He's the big man. So it's Anthony Robinson and Ream back in the team. Miles Robinson, I think he complements Tim Ream very well just because of how he can cover ground and cover
Mhm,
space. And I think it'll be good to integrate him back within this back four next to Tim Ream. And then Serginho Dest is going to get his opportunity now. Joe Scally was okay. Again, I think this was probably one of his better games, and we dominated possession.
It's so hard.
We
Listen,
had the ball, so it's a little bit easier for an
it's
outside
so hard
back.
to really properly evaluate.
Yeah,
this
most
game.
defending is in transition. You're poking the
Yeah.
ball away. You're tackling it back. You're killing attacks. You're not ever like set up in a way that like you get beat on a 1-2 or like actually he did get beat on a 1-2 on the first goal, but like now that I think about it. But yeah, I agree with Charlie on that one.
Okay, yeah. So we're all on the same page with that.
Yeah.
Okay, then midfield, I think it's Yunus Musa, Weston McKennie, and then it's just a matter of us deciding who that third midfielder is going to be. Is it going to be Gio again? Is it going to be Brendan? Is it going to be a different option, Luca De La Torre?
I think Zendejas did enough to get a start in the El Salvador game. He came in and made a difference. He said, I want to shine. So I think we're going to see McKennie again with Yunus Musa instead of De La Torre. And we're going to see.
So who? So it's either Gio or Brendan potentially. You got other options like Senora and Mihailovic. And
no,
I'm just throwing them out there because they're on the team. But I just options in this space.
Well, if you could give Reyna another go at the 10 spot,
give him 60 minutes,
and Zendejas on the right instead of Aronson.
Yeah, right. So Aronson makes
and
way.
then I think Pulisic and Pepe for sure are back in the team. Or you could go Zendejas as the 10 and see what that looks like, and keep Aronson on the right, Pulisic and Pepe.
I think that's too much risk for rhythm at this point. But yeah, I would love to see that. But I'm going with Charlie's first lineup, and also wanted to get while we're on that lineup, just a thought on DK from Chuck during his minutes.
Yeah.
Got to do more with those minutes.
If you can't score against Grenada, then you just you're out.
I'm the first person to tell you it is not easy to come into a game like this where everyone wants to score and everyone feels they can score. It's one thing that every player on the pitch wants to score and they're taking their chances. It's another one everyone thinks they can score, and they think if I score, I'm going to get my opportunity against El Salvador, and I'm going to keep getting called in from Anthony Hudson and have priority in terms of maybe first off the bench if I'm not in the 11. So it's never easy. So I want to give Daryl Dike the benefit of the doubt in that, and with that in mind. But in terms of what he showed, we all know he didn't show enough. He made a couple runs. He didn't get on the ball.
Pepe scored twice as well.
It's I think.
And Pepe didn't score. I think DK maybe would have been
he still was in a couple decent spots, and I just want to see him find ways to do more. Again, it's super easy when it's that, and it's super easy to criticize when it's that score line to say you should do more.
Yes.
But this is a guy that's scoring those types of goals. So I'd like to see him score those types of goals in a game like this.
And we knew coming into this the strengths of Ricardo Pepi and the strengths of Daryl Dike. And again, my point on Daryl Dike is we haven't seen him yet develop at this stage and at this level, being able to get on the ball and bring people into the game.
So now, why don't you start him and see then? It's hard, as you said, it's hard in those
because why wouldn't you start Ricardo Pepi, who's proven himself, who's hungry, who hasn't been given the keys anymore. He's been out. He didn't make the World Cup team, so it's the same boat as Daryl Dike. Yet he's scoring goals, and now PSV are interested in signing him. And so that I'm going to go with my best striker in this case, and that's Ricardo Pepi. Ricardo Pepi is a better striker at this stage right now than Daryl Dike.
Okay, that's fine. But I mean, at what point are we going to give Daryl Dike that opportunity to have a 60 minutes, start the game, work off a fresh Christian Pulisic off the start of a game? Everybody's fresh at the start of a game.
But why would he deserve that? Why does he deserve that?
Well, he's had the same run of form for his club team, or maybe even better at the current moment than Ricardo Pepi. But Pepi gets. But let's be honest, Grenada's not good, dude. So Pepi scores twice with some shit defending from Grenada. Okay, no problem. Okay. And if DK starts the game, he might score two in similar situations.
But this is all might.
Of course, it's all what if. It's all what if.
But Pepi is doing it. He scored two.
Right, but then
that's the difference. Zendejas came in and he scored.
I don't know why I'm
Right?
choosing violence in this particular.
I hate when my parents fight.
I don't know why you fighting for DK like this.
Well, I'm fighting for
DK's
somebody.
not a better player than Ricardo Pepi. So
DK
does he deserve to
gave
start
Jimmy a
over?
follow on Instagram, and now he's got
No, that's not true. Listen, he doesn't follow me on any platform. What I'm saying is, if we're asking him to be somebody he's not, but not giving him the opportunity to be that person, because we're not putting him in the best spots to potentially make that happen. Pepe's had plenty of chances, and some of them worked out and some of them didn't. And so DK gets hurt in the Gold Cup after he looked okay, and now he can't get back into the team, and now he's playing well. He's become a little bit undeniable. And then we give him some minutes at the end of a game where it's a little bit all over the place. There's a whole bunch of subs, and then we expect him to score 3 or 2 or 1 or whatever. I get what you're saying. There's like these little things that we want to see, to Heath's point and to your point, Charlie.
Yeah.
And maybe we didn't see that, and we're seeing more of that from Ricardo Pepi, and he's probably a better link-up player and fits the mold better. He's a better piece of the puzzle. But just in terms of fairness to the player, if we're going to hold him up to this high standard, I just want to make sure that we're giving him the opportunity to live up to that standard in some capacity. That's it. I'm done. Thanks for having me, everybody.
No, my thing is you could say that for every player. You could say that for Luka Del Toro. True. Brent Aronson and Timo Weah, and you could go on and on and on. But at the end of the day, as a manager, Anthony Hudson has one thing that he can do, and that's play your best players. And so in certain instances, at least in this back line for Grenada, you're saying they're not really that dangerous. So I can get Joe Scally, Trusty, McKenzie, and Reynolds some game time at this level with our top attacking players, knowing that they don't really have too many threats.
Sure,
and if they suck against Grenada, guess what? They suck. They're not getting called. They're not getting called back in for a long time, right? But for the attacking players, you say, okay, let's get some rhythm going. I'm gonna get Christian Pulisic going. I'm giving the captain's armband. And my man impressed. He took that opportunity. Said, "Hey, I'm here. I might not be in the best of form at Chelsea, but guys, I got this. I still got it, right?" And then McKennie, again, a player who's got to be in the team. And then Reyna, obviously we talked about that. Not that convincing, but it was more of the I'm on the pitch, guys. I'm moving past everything. Give me some time.
So he's out of your starting lineup,
right? Well, I mean, I could see Reyna playing the next game too, and then Zendejas getting
or I think Zendejas is in and Aronson's out, and maybe they flip flop halves. Reyna gets the first, Aronson gets the second. I don't know. We're gonna take our second and last. We won't have only breaks. We have 2 now. Our second and last break of In Soccer We Trust. When we come back, we're gonna talk about some player named Folarin Balogun, who's apparently pretty good. So do not go anywhere.
Welcome to the UEFA Europa League on Paramount Plus.
What a night!
Your home for more ultra-competitive, world-class soccer. Where Europe's elite and soccer's Cinderellas pump out that one-of-a-kind white-knuckle excitement that grows with every cut, every cross, and each and every... The UEFA Europa League. Stream every match live exclusively on Paramount Plus.
That is right. Don't miss a second of action from the greatest club competitions on earth, the Champions League and the Europa League. Follow the biggest stars from the world of the beautiful game, like Vinicius Jr., Victor Osimhen, Erling Haaland, Marcus Rashford, and Angel Di Maria, just to name a few of them, as they try to clinch continental glory. Stream every match from the Champions League and the Europa League live only on Paramount Plus. Try 1 month free with the promo code ADVANCE. And welcome back, everybody, to In Soccer We Trust. I'm Jimmy with Charlie and Heath. I don't know if I've ever actually called this by our first names only, but I'm doing it this time. Let's talk about Folarin Balogun, everybody. So let's give some context about him if you're unaware, but there is a very talented number 9 out there who was born in the U.S. to Nigerian parents, but grew up in England, so he can play through 3 different countries, but he's only represented England at the youth national team level. And England didn't call him up for these things, even though he's absolutely crushing it in Ligue in France for Reims and doing extremely, extremely well. He's on loan to Reims from Arsenal. They're still trying to decide how they're going to bring him back into the fold after they've given up signed some Eddie Nketiah and other Arsenal players to some big contracts, how he's going to fit in there and how he's going to fit into England. Gareth Southgate didn't call him in. And then Marcus Rashford and Mason Mount, 2 attacking players, both elected to leave off or didn't play for England in this window because of injury. He still didn't get called in as a replacement. And so he put on a cryptic message on his Instagram that he wants to go somewhere where he's wanted. I'm paraphrasing. Then he gets out of the England under 21 camp and then shows up in Orlando. how fortuitous is that for everybody? Anthony Hudson said, the interim coach for the U.S. said, I've said before, we've had dialogue, we've spoken. So U.S. Soccer and Balogun's, him and his people have talked. He's out here having a bit of a break and then some training, and we've had some discussions. I think it's been good because it's been an opportunity for us to just share about our program and who we are and what we want to do, and that's it. I hope we get the chance to speak to him again. It's been good, and I know a few of the guys have spoken to him as well. So that's where we're at with Balogun, but that would be a big piece to our puzzle, like you mentioned before the break, Chuck, about having him in the team and what a difference he could make for us. Even if with him, it just would force the other guys too that are playing number 9 to have to pick up their games to another level as well.
Yeah.
Sorry, I've just talked for 5 minutes straight. Go ahead.
No, Folarin Balogun showed up in Orlando. It's not a coincidence that he ditched the England U21 call-up to show up in England. And the funny thing is, you say he
could have gone anywhere. He went to Orlando.
Right. But the funny thing to me is he's injured, right? Yet he shows he's out training in Florida and he's talking about the heat. So what injury are we talking about here? Here we go, this heat. Now he's good. This was an opportunity to come out to meet the U.S. men's national team staff, the players, have that conversation. There's no coincidence that he's at Orlando Magic games rocking the number 9 jersey. He's at baseball games rocking the number 9 jersey. This, to me, looks like a little recruitment trip for the U.S. men's national team saying, hey, England, they don't appreciate you like we do. And I appreciate all you guys in the YouTube comment sections, all the American outlaws throwing up the American flag, all up in his comments saying, hey, we're all about it. Like, come join the squad, because this is a difference maker we're talking here. We're talking the difference between playing in the group stage and just getting out of the group stage and getting knocked out to, we're in the semifinals. We have a capable striker, someone who has technique, who can beat you on the dribble, who makes great runs, who knows how to play with other players around you to build them up and continue with link-up play into the final third. This is a massive, massive game changer because not a lot of countries have strikers. Look at Italy. I mean, they had to go to Boca Juniors to find a naturalized striker, Retegui, who had no experience, who wasn't even playing at Boca. He was on loan. And that's who Italy had to go with, a powerhouse country like Italy. So if we can go and get a capable, quality, young striker who's hungry and motivated to play for us, the U.S., just like Yunus Musa came and I think that opened up everyone's perspective, being like, damn, we can get these players? This would take us to another level. Now, if you were watching closely tonight, Ricardo Pepi played like, you guys don't need this guy. Let me be that guy. You could see that motivation, that hunger to, because I'd be pissed off if I was a number 9 on the national team. If I'm a striker and everyone's all hyped and fans are crazy and teammates have to talk to him and say, hey, it'd be an honor to have you. We'd be grateful to have you. I'd be pissed off. So I like the response from Ricardo Pepi, but I also know that if we did get a Balogun and he's healthy, this is a massive, massive coup for the U.S. men's national team.
Do you feel like, and Heath, I'll come to you on this because I do think it will help, but when you start to recruit, like you get a Yunus Musa, a dual national that comes in, you get a Serginho Dest, and then you get a Balogun, I think you start to turn the heads and you there's something about this team, right? There's the vibes in some ways that more people want to be a part of it, like a fear of missing out in some ways that they got to get on, especially leading up to this World Cup, which will be unlike any other in U.S. soccer history.
Yeah, I think it's hard, right? Because on one hand, we do need to earn the right to have a quality player. On the other hand, we're talking about 17 goals in Ligue, and previous to that, like no history, right? And this is a guy who is now getting to that point where you're like, he is going to be a star. It's undeniable at the level that he is right now. But he's got 1 year of it, right? He's an Arsenal talent. He's come through, but he is finding his feet as the player that Arsenal looked at and said, this guy could be a star someday. And it's hard to be 20 years old and be an Arsenal star, right? You get a Bukayo Saka once a generation. He's had to go and find his way and prove everybody at Arsenal wrong as they continue to not bring him back from loan and score a bunch of goals. This guy is an absolute baller, and he's going to make this team better. I just wonder, like, from a recruitment standpoint, I love it all, by the way. What do you need to tell him, Charlie? I mean, you come in a situation like that. What do you need to tell him? Because a lot of it's about being let down by his bigger dream, right? So he's already sort of somewhat thinking about it, but
taking a step away from that. Yeah.
I know we all talked about not having a sporting director, not having a general manager and sporting director have give you this pitch of the future and how you fit into it, right? The game plan. But ultimately, it's about how do I feel when I'm around these guys? So you naturally say, come hang out, come see what we're about, get the vibe check.
Yeah, come buy bottles with Weston.
There you go. Hey,
I mean, that's what we did with Eunice, right? Eunice was the same.
Let's give you these jerseys courtside. Come hang out. Get the feel for what we're about, and that's all it takes. Along with a coach to say, if you come, you're gonna be that game changer for us. You're gonna fit in perfectly to us. You don't have to wait for years for Harry Kane to move on. And who knows, whatever other strikers England has in mind ahead of Flo. Or you look at Nigeria and still Victor Osimhen is there. So you're still not the guy. You come to the US, he is the guy. He is better than every other striker we have. And it's not even close. It's not even close.
So I do want to throw this out there because on the last show, Heath, and I don't know if Charlie, if you were on or not, but Heath made a good point about we don't do a very good job, or at least under Greg, of getting the number 9 the ball a lot or in meaningful spaces a lot. And I wonder how that impacts what we do. Now you add him to the piece and I think you figure out a way. And I think, when you're a talented player surrounded by other super talented players, you're just going to find the ball and you're going to make a difference because that's just how good you are. But I thought that was an interesting thing. And I've been thinking about it, Heath. That was how impactful it was. I've been thinking about it days later that you're right. When we are kind of wing back centric, we're trying to create a lot of that. Maybe not. I mean, sometimes if we have some space centrally, Musa or McKennie can do their stuff, but we're not so centrally located. We like to start wide and come inside. So I thought that was interesting.
One player can change all of that.
Sure. Right.
One player can change all of that. His movements, his runs, when he's on the ball, that gives everyone else confidence. When you can show that your strengths and how they can be applied to this group and take them to the next level, guess what? The player who's taking that one extra touch, that's not happening anymore. His head's up and he's looking for flow. Is he in the channel? Is he checking? I'm going to get it to the 9. There's a big difference because the perspective changes. So that's why I know we haven't had a 9 like this in a long time.
Well, that's why just the simplicity, from a simplicity sake, one of the reasons that it's not about Pepe's goal scoring that I like most about him. It's about the fact that if you play him the ball, there's a good chance he's going to lay it off to whoever's facing the game more often than not. He is not going to take 4 touches to get it down. He's not going to do a bunch of these things. He's clean. And I like that about when there are strikers that I personally like, when I watch Champions League, when I watch big matches, international matches, it's that simplicity that you are an option at all times to relieve pressure, to lay the ball off, to build up in the attack, but it's not about you a lot of the times. And when you have a player like Flo who's going to be on the field, you can play his feet, you're going to get it back. He's got the quality to spin out if he has the opportunity. He's just got those different options that make you trust. If I make that little diagonal run, if I play that ball into his feet, is it a turnover? Does he have positioning? Like all those things that have that confidence that when we had Charlie at his best, you knew you always had an option in the place. You put it into the corner, he's going to beat the guy to the corner. You put it to his feet, he's going to scrap for that type of ball. And I think just having that level of confidence, we haven't had that consistently where we just almost deny that ability to find a striker directly at times.
I think too, speaking about our number 9s kind of leading up to the World Cup and at the World Cup itself, when you have someone like Balogun, he seems clinical. You give him that one chance, he's going to score it. And that is what I think another reason that sets him apart from our current crop of guys. Whereas we have guys that get in good spots, but will they take that opportunity when it comes? And as you play in bigger games and in bigger competitions, those chances become a lot fewer and far between. So it's I'm excited about that. I'm excited about the possibility. And now that he's getting all this and we're wooing him and the New York Yankees are giving him jerseys as well, can the guy would be the biggest villain of all time if he told us no at this point. So I'm very curious to see how this all plays out. And yeah, it's exciting times for the U.S. Obviously, we're getting to move on from the Reyna stuff and starting to focus on games, which is great. And Berhalter saga, obviously, we got coaching and sporting directors and general managers to hire. But with Balogun coming in, I think it's all really refreshing and exciting. And man, the future just feels as bright as it ever has. Now we're just kind of curious to see who the coach is going to be. All right, that is the show. We're going to see you after the El Salvador game. That's the next time you're going to see our beautiful faces. So make sure, once again, you hit all the important buttons like liking and subscribing and telling your friends and leaving 5-star reviews and all that good stuff. We really appreciate everybody's support. So on behalf of Producer Des, Producer Alex, Charlie Chuck Wagon Davies, Hollywood Heath Pearce, I'm Jimmy Cream Cheese Trash Can Conrad saying thank you for listening and supporting In Soccer We Trust. And we will see you after the El Salvador game live on
Y'all are
Monday.
the best.
Enjoy it. We'll see you soon. Later.